Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
So today we're looking at, well, a pretty remarkable story. Someone in Europe hitting financial independence, retire early, fire in just 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
Right.
That's incredibly fast.
Right. The big question is, how on earth did they manage that kind of acceleration?
Exactly, and that's what we're digging into. We want to unpack the actual sources here, look at the financial decisions, the career moves, and honestly, the big risks they took. It's quite different from the usual fire path.
And it turns out the driving force wasn't just wanting to quit a job or anything like that. The source material suggests it was actually very personal, the birth of their child.
Yeah, and that changes everything, doesn't it?
It really does. Suddenly, the goal isn't just abstract financial freedom. It's about time, right now.
Uh-huh. It definitely ups the stakes emotionally, gives you a powerful why, and maybe makes you willing to stomach, well, a lot more discomfort and risk than you otherwise would. Maximizing time with family. Yeah, people do extraordinary things for that.
Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. Every fire plan needs a number. What was the target here?
The goal they set was 1 million in investments. Nice round number.
1 million. And why that specific amount?
Well, that comes directly from the 4% rule. It's a common benchmark in the fire community. The idea is that a 1 million portfolio should safely let you withdraw 4% a year, so $40,000, basically forever, adjusting for inflation. That was their target annual income.
Got it. So 1 million target, 7-year timeline.
Oh.
That means they needed to save, what, quite aggressively?
Oh, absolutely. The math works out to needing to invest around 2,500 euro every single month, consistently, for 7 years straight.
Wow. Okay, 2,500 a month, that's substantial.
It is. And
Yeah.
here's the first major hurdle. Their initial job as a corporate trainer, the income just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't hit that 2,500 monthly investment goal, not even close, based on the source. So right away, the standard slow and steady path was out. They needed something radical.
Right. And this is where most people might think, okay, cut expenses to the bone. Extreme frugality.
Exactly. The usual playbook. Cut everything.
But this person, they looked at it differently, didn't they? They figured cutting expenses wouldn't get them there fast enough.
Precisely. They realized saving more pennies wasn't the answer for that kind of speed. They needed more pounds, so to speak. Or euros, in this case. The focus had to shift dramatically from saving velocity to income velocity.
Income velocity, I like that. So less about pinching pennies, more about earning big bucks.
Yeah. You can only cut expenses down so far, right?
Right.
But income, theoretically.
Well, the ceiling is much higher, so they made a deliberate career pivot.
Okay, so what did that look like? They moved away from the stable salary.
Uh-huh. The documentation says they specifically look for roles with results-based compensation. Think high-level sales, commission structures.
Things where your pay is directly tied to performance. Exactly. Or, things like significant performance bonuses, equity stakes, maybe a partnership track. Roles where success doesn't just mean a pat on the back, it means a much, much bigger paycheck.
And where did this lead them? What was the actual job?
Well, this is the really dramatic part. They ended up becoming the CEO of an investment company.
Wait, hang on. From corporate trainer to CEO.
Yeah.
An investment company. That feels like a bit of a leap. Are we skipping some steps here?
It's definitely a huge jump, no question, and you're right to flag it. The source doesn't detail every single step of that career climb. Maybe they were incredibly talented and underemployed before, or maybe there was years of intense grinding involved that isn't fully captured.
Okay.
But from the perspective of the fire plan, the outcome was the key, that CEO role. It completely changed their financial picture.
It unlocked the income they needed.
Absolutely. Suddenly, that 2,500 monthly investment wasn't just possible, they could probably exceed it. The income problem was solved.
So the takeaway seems pretty clear then. If you want speed in fire, forget just being frugal. You likely need a seriously high income. Max out the earnings.
That's a huge part of it for this kind of extreme acceleration, yeah. Fire becomes an income problem, not just a savings problem. But even that wasn't quite enough for 7 years.
Really? High income, saving 2,500 euro plus a month, still not enough for €1 in 7 years.
Well, think about it. Even saving, say, 3,000 euro a month for 7 years is 252,000 saved. You need some serious investment growth on top of that to hit 1 million. Standard market returns might not guarantee it that fast. They needed another accelerator.
Okay, so what was the next piece? The multiplier.
This is where the risk factor really ramps up. The sources point to one main thing: high-risk, concentrated investing.
So not just passive index funds then.
Definitely not. The standard advice, diversify, spread your risk, that went out the window here.
So what was the move? What specific risk did they take?
They invested heavily in their own company's stock.
Whoa. Okay. The CEO investing significantly in the company they run.
Exactly. Betting on themselves, essentially. It's the ultimate high-risk, high-reward play.
I mean, on one hand, they know the company better than anyone.
Right.
Like inside information,
Right.
basically, even if acting legally.
That's the argument for it, yeah. It wasn't a blind bet. They had intimate knowledge of the operations, the strategy, the team. They were betting on their own ability to execute and succeed. Deep first-hand knowledge.
But the downside, I mean, that's terrifying, isn't it? You're tying your job, your high income, and your entire retirement savings to the fate of one single company.
It's massive correlation risk, textbook concentration risk. If that company hit trouble, market changes, bad decisions, anything, they could lose their job and watch their savings evaporate simultaneously.
So a total wipeout scenario was definitely on the table.
Absolutely. This wasn't a strategy with a safety net. It worked out spectacularly in this case, but it very easily could have been a story of, well, complete financial ruin in 7 years instead.
So this specific path, it's not really a template for most people listening, is it? It requires a very specific high-stakes situation.
Pretty much, yeah. You need that combination, the high income potential, the deep insider knowledge of an asset, and frankly, the nerve to put it all on the line like that. It's built for speed, but the risk tolerance required is extreme.
Okay, so high income solve the savings problem. High risk investing solved the growth problem. They hit the year million. 7 years. Fire achieved. But what happened after they crossed the finish line? Did they just stop?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting, and it mirrors what we often see. The sources indicate they didn't just, hang up their boots entirely. It was more like semi-retirement.
Semi-retirement, meaning?
Meaning they kept working, but only on things they genuinely wanted to do, projects they enjoyed on their own terms.
So they used the financial independence to buy back control, not necessarily to stop working altogether. Eliminate the need to work, not work itself.
Exactly that. And when you think about the kind of personality that pulls off a 7-year fire plan, like this CEO, high-risk investor, are they really wired for decades of pure leisure?
Probably not. That drive, that need to build or achieve something, it doesn't just switch off, does it?
Usually not, no. The engagement, the challenge, that's often part of who they are. So fire becomes less about escaping work and more about gaining total autonomy over work.
Right. Retiring from obligation, maybe, not from activity.
Well put. It's about shifting from doing things you have to do for money to doing things you want to do, possibly still earning, but because you choose to. That control seems to be the real prize.
Okay, so let's try and boil this whole 7-year journey down. What's the core formula here?
If we're looking at this specific case, it seems to come down to 3 key things. First, that really clear financial goal, the 1 million, tied to the 4% rule. Second, the intense focus on boosting income, getting into that high-paying, results-driven CEO role.
Income velocity.
Income velocity, yeah. And third, the big one, the willingness to take that concentrated, high-risk bet on their own company's stock, leveraging their insider knowledge.
It's a pertinent mix, but definitely high octane and high risk, which leads to maybe a final thought for everyone listening.
Okay.
If the end point for many people who achieve FIRE, especially this quickly, isn't total leisure, but this kind of semi-retirement, doing work they actually enjoy then? Well, how much energy should we put solely on the speed of accumulating money versus figuring out what that enjoyable work actually is, maybe even starting it now?
That's a really interesting point. If the ultimate goal isn't just stopping, but gaining control to do fulfilling work, maybe part of the journey should be identifying and even integrating that work much earlier. Maybe true independence isn't just hitting a number, but finding that fulfilling path, with financial control being the enabler, not the sole destination.
Something to think about. Is the goal retirement or just